All right, welcome to another exciting session at NFTCON. I'm Eathan, Janney, along with Josh Kriger, co-host of the Edge of NFT podcast. We're missing our co-host Jeff Kelly, although you'll see him and the others of us interspersed throughout this convention, conducting some of the panels and interviews. Today's topic is Enjin ecosystem. We're doing a panel on how NFTs are transforming games. And we have some really awesome guests with us today, including Cliff Cawley of Lost Relics, Nick Franklin of Kingdom Karnage, Sam Stebbins of Space Misfits. And so, I think maybe the first thing we like to do is just go around to each individual and allow them to say a little bit about what they're up to and what people might want to know about them to get a little bit of a foundation, and then we'll head into some conversation topics. So why don't we start with you, Samuel? That'd be great if you could kick us off.
All right, great. Yeah, Samuel Stebbins here from JSim Studios. We're building Space Misfits. It's a massive multiplayer space game on Enjin. We're in full beta. We got an awesome player base, and we got a playable game, and we're just growing and developing.
Very cool. Yeah. How about Cliff? Why don't you give us a little bit about you?
Hey, I'm Cliff Cawley from Lost Relics. I'm working on an ARPG game on Enjin. Been released now for about 2 years, just in pre-alpha or alpha stage. We've got a fully functional game, and currently just working on the Halloween event, which is going to be released this month.
Ooh, sounds spooky. Excited about that. How about Nick?
Hi, I'm Nick with Kingdom Karnage. We're also in beta, so you can play on multiple platforms. Trading card game with animated combat, and we're currently working on multiple events that will be getting launched in the near future.
Very cool.
That's exciting, guys. And we had Simon over at Enjin on Edge of NFT, and it was one of the most high engagement shows we had in the early days. At this point, we're at 50 episodes. We just celebrated turning 50. Time flies in the world of Edge of NFTs, right? But we're just excited to learn more about Enjin's ecosystem and what's being built on it. We know there's always a lot of stuff happening with these ecosystems that sort of you have to peel back the onion to learn more. And so this is a great opportunity for us. We know that Enjin is one of the leading ecosystems for NFTs. It offers a comprehensive suite of products for creating, trading, distributing, integrating blockchain into virtual worlds, for those of you listening here that didn't know that. And as a scalable, affordable platform, Enjin's technology has seen a wide application in blockchain games, apps, enterprise programs, innovative marketing campaigns. And to date, this is a powerful stat that was shared with us. Over 1.16 billion Enjin-powered blockchain assets have already been created. Wow. That is a lot of NFTs. So I guess with that, why don't we kick it off with you, Cliff? Why should players care about NFTs and digital asset ownership?
Well, I think it just puts the power back into their hands. Basically, it's every time you buy like a Fortnite skin or something like that, the company can take that away from you at whatever chance they get. So by having an NFT, you actually own it yourself. You can keep it in your wallet. You can show it off to your friends, and then you can actually have the power to trade it. So, for example, if you get bored with the game later in the future, you can decide to sell it and get back your initial investment, or maybe more.
Right on. Any other thoughts, Samuel or Nick?
It's just the same as Cliff is saying there, which is more mainstream games. They openly stop people from trading the game assets. With NFTs, we're actually encouraging you to do that, so you have full ownership and you can do as you please with those assets.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think it's an entirely different concept than native gaming. I was surprised when a major executive in traditional gaming said that they don't see the use case for NFTs when we have situations like we just shared happening in the space.
Yeah, we just had that hot topic, right? Epic Games CEO is denying any feasibility of NFTs, right?
I wasn't going to throw out names.
Why not?
But yeah.
It's in the news. Anyway.
Well, anyways, what do you have any questions for these guys, Eathan?
Oh yeah, for sure. So basically, I'm curious about what new opportunities this technology is offering for game developers. We talked about what might be in it for the players, but I think as a developer, I know we're actually working on releasing our own NFT project, and the creativity is boundless, right? People have all kinds of ideas of what to do and how to take advantage of this technology. So I'm curious, how that plays out and what you guys are doing. Why don't we let Cliff kick it off and let us know if you've got any ideas about the way creativity is coming into NFTs and gaming here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of we're at the bleeding edge, I guess, of this space. There's a lot more games I've seen starting to come out now with some new ideas. When I started 2 years ago, being one of the first projects, the space was quite different. There was not as much focus on earning money as there was of actually owning the items and then potentially reselling them. That tended to change probably within the last year or so with Axie Infinity. Their model of focusing
I've
primarily
never heard of that
on
game. What's Axie?
earning an income,
Kidding.
and almost like making a job out of it, kind of turned the whole item ownership like into the back, like it sort of made it very minuscule. And I think the focus has just been on playing to earn and almost like replacing an income and doing it as games. So I think some of the item ownership part of it that's so huge has kind of been diminished a bit. In saying that, the whole space allows a lot of projects to share. Like, for example, Nick and I can collaborate and we can have one token that we share between the games because it's a public database, so we can all read from that and it can add support to our games for that item, and that makes it more valuable, which is something you don't normally see. And you can also do other things like transforming objects and giving them properties that then follow them around as they're sold and non-sold to other people. So I think that also adds a different avenue to it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you think what would have life have been like back in the early days if Qbert and Pac-Man could interact with each other, and you can have a hybrid game, right?
Yeah, I think definitely. You get kind of, I guess, more creative with that kind of thing. I know that traditional video game companies are very protective of their IP, and that sort of imposes limitations on what you can do with it. For example, I used to work for another company. We did a Battlestar Galactica game. We weren't allowed to use any of the characters from the main story because they said that the fans wouldn't understand if their player or if the character or the actor died in the game. So we weren't allowed to use any of the traditional actors. So they were very protective of that. And then obviously using characters in other games that aren't your IP is also a bit of a no-no for most of those companies. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge for them to let go and change that potentially.
Yeah, that's a lot of interesting stuff. Nick, did you have anything to say on this topic? I mean, there's some interesting aspects here around incentives and rewards for people doing specific things in the game, around NFTs and currencies and things like that. Also, I know, Cliff, you mentioned like people are more focused on earning necessarily than owning, but I don't know how this is playing out, but in the real world, I earn and then I buy an asset to kind of store the value that I have, right? Buy a house or stocks or something like that. So I'm curious if these assets, even though they're not being traded as much, they're sort of being seen as an asset to store the value that they earn. Nick, what are your opinions on this, especially in light of how developers see the opportunities?
From a more developer side of things rather than the player, it opens up whole new opportunities on how you can build revenue for your project. The past decade, maybe, advertising was probably the leading thing that most games went towards. And most gamers don't enjoy having to sit there watching a 30-second advert every 5 minutes or every 3 minutes, and it's a pain in the backside. So with the power of NFTs, and you can monetize in much better, more efficient ways. And at the same time as monetizing, you're also empowering the player to earn. So it's less of a cash grab from the game, and more fun for the player whilst the player earns at the same time, which is a win-win.
Yeah, that's fun. Samuel, any thoughts on this? How developers are using NFTs in new and interesting ways?
Yeah, I mean, I would back up Cliff saying there's definitely been a shift this year. We see it every day. Players will come in our channels, and the first question that they ask is, "How do we earn?" Not about the game or playing. It's how do we earn? And I think there should be more focus really on the playability of the game. How fun is the game to play? And so I feel like we're doing a good job. First, just creating a game that's really fun to play. I think the play to earn is definitely important, but it should be something that is also available, not something that should be the first primary thing to consider when choosing your game. But yeah, I mean, the monetization is important. The play to earn, NFT ownership, all those things. Having that true item ownership is super important for that player. And I think we're doing a pretty good job giving that to people.
I think that's also you see a lot of dApps that are more built around how people earn and not so much about the game. And now that people are discovering our games and Enjin games that are more focused on being a game first and then earning potential second, they're a bit surprised by that. And so they're asking straight up, "How do I earn?" And then they realize, "Anyway, this is actually a proper game. It's not just a boring dApp where you can earn a little bit, but it's a very boring game." So
I played one of those a month ago. I'm not gonna lie, and I joined the game, and within a week, the entire game, it was an exciting game. It was trending #1 on CoinMarketCap or whatever for NFT games, and then all of a sudden, a week later, the whole thing crashed because it wasn't really fun. You're just clicking a few buttons, and people it didn't have a real ecosystem. So I think that's a really important point you guys make.
Those games go to a chore very, very quickly, rather than it being about the game, about being fun.
Yeah, no, I was just playing around because I was like, why is this game so popular? And then I realized that, this is just a pure hype cycle game, and there's not a lot of substance. So I appreciate what you gents are saying. How is Enjin making all of this possible and scalable? Sam, can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, for us, we moved over to JumpNet. It was a logistical nightmare to move. We needed to. When I say logistical nightmare on our end, really, because we had a ton of items. So moving over to JumpNet really solved a lot of problems for us. Before with gas fees, having to mint and send out NFTs, was having a hard time, especially on the business side of things. We can't sell a $30, $40, $50 NFT in our store and then pay $30, $40, $50 for gas fees to send out. So JumpNet has really helped us there on the business side of things to be able to mint and send out NFTs gasless. We've now minted thousands and thousands of NFTs to players' wallets on JumpNet. We've been doing this for about 2 months now on our app exchange, and no issues. So. Every now and then there's glitches. It's still new, but for the most part, it's been really, really smooth, and it's really solved a lot of problems on our end, and able to for us just to drop NFTs in players' wallets.
That's exciting, man. Simon was just talking about JumpNet launching when the show came together, and so much has happened just since then. Cliff, Nick, have you guys used JumpNet as well?
Yeah, I've probably one of the first to get onto it. I've been on JumpNet now for a good 6-7 months. I think I was actually the first to fully engage with it. And for me, it's been huge because as a trading card game, we have a combined system so people can combine equal cards of the same level and power to get to the next one. And running that on Ethereum or even on Binance Smart Chain would have been a nightmare. The cost of doing this for hundreds of cards at a time is not worth doing. But on JumpNet with zero gas, it all runs so smoothly. It's fantastic. And the players are amazed. They can't believe how well it operates after having used it, after having using other chains. They're just bewildered.
Cool. Anything to add, Cliff?
So about a year and a half ago, I think, was when the Ethereum gas fees went through the roof. JumpNet wasn't ready then, so I ended up having to make my own solution. I've actually got an off-chain solution where players send their items from their wallet back to the game wallet. So all the items are still stored on there, but it's stored on their accounts. So basically, I can do gasless trading and all the same things you can do on the networks without that. If I was to start today, I would definitely jump onto JumpNet.
How is
my
Enjin?
decisions back then? Because there was nothing else available at the time, I just had to go with it and come up with the other solution.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. Anything else to add about Enjin and how it's been, supportive of your ecosystem you're building for your game?
So I think they're definitely very supportive with like the marketing and support and that kind of thing. The SDK is really nice to use. It's made the experience of getting started with blockchain gaming really easy. They've got a C# SDK now that I make use of, and that makes it much easier than interacting directly with any of the contracts and the RPCs and stuff.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to hear a little bit more about kind of trends. We do our hot topic sections, and a lot of what we do on End of NFT, we're talking kind of the top 1% of projects. What's really going on in the different spaces at the moment. So I'm curious what trends you guys are seeing in the blockchain gaming environment in general. I'll kick it over maybe to Nick first and see what kind of things are you seeing there?
Well, I'd have to say probably the newest thing that people are pushing for is renting NFTs. Having players be able to rent an NFT out to another player without losing that asset and then profiting from it. But I'm more interested in a new trend that I'm setting, or hopefully setting, which is dynamic NFTs. I believe that true rarity is not based on the supply of the token or asset. It's got more to do with the ratio of the supply versus the number of players. And if you've got 100 of an NFT, but you've only got 100 players, that's not rare. It's not scarce at all. It's as common as it can be. But if you have 100 of those assets and then the player base increases to 10,000, suddenly that becomes quite very rare. And if the player base jumps to 1 million, then it's extremely rare. I mean, at that point, it should be epic legend. And so this is something that I've started playing around with, and I actually now have a range of different dynamic characters within Kingdom Karnage, and they literally start off as common level 1 assets, and then they evolve and level up as the number of players increases in the game, because the true rarity is increasing, whilst the supply can't.
So are you saying you can start with a larger number and then reduce the number, and can you actually change?
No, I'm doing a fixed number. So I literally have a set number of the NFT, whether it be 100 or 1,000 or whatever, and that doesn't change. That's set. But the number of players, it will increase, and as the number of players increases, the asset is rarer. So the stats and the rarity of the asset changed and evolve over time to match that.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, Cliff, what kind of trends are you seeing in blockchain gaming?
I guess it's more like what we were discussing before with that play to earn side. It kind of changed from that ownership thing pretty quickly to play to earn. And so, for example, recently I've added something called Shadow Stones, which is basically a 1 to 100 representation of Enjin within the game. And so players that drops in adventures and dungeons and things like that, and players can earn that and then basically have that sent to their wallet. I actually do use JumpNet for that. So once they earn that Enjin, they can then have it sent out to them, and essentially are earning this currency within the game. What they do earn within the game, though, they can't immediately take out. They must push it back into the ecosystem, and that gets recycled around. So they must use it to either buy other blockchain items, spend it on the store. Once they've done that, that kind of goes back into the system. And then if they were to sell their blockchain item later, they can then withdraw that later. So it's kind of going with this whole play to earn thing that everyone seems to be focused on right now. That's what I'm saying.
But it sounds like you've done it in a way where it's not like you earn and then you peace out. You gotta stay in the game. You gotta be playing the game. You gotta be part of the ecosystem. You can't just like run in there, grab a bunch of jewels, and then hit the road.
Exactly. You have to kind of partake in the whole ecosystem and in the financial side too. So, you can't just, like you said, run in and take everything and then run out. You actually have to participate, and that stimulates the economy in the game as well.
You mentioned kind of like having what was like a 1 to 100 representation of Enjin and things like that. It reminded me when we did interview Simon, this topic of kind of melting. Like Enjin is like representing NFTs, but if you have an NFT, you also kind of inherently have a bit of Enjin that could be sort of melted back into Enjin or something. Is this? Am I crazy? Is that, or do you know how this works? Do you explain this a little more detail to me or not, or can anybody?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the melting thing seems to be a bit of a cause for confusion for people.
Sure.
I guess you can kind of think of it as when you make a hammer, you need to put raw materials into it. The idea then is if you destroy that hammer, theoretically, you could take the raw materials back out again, and then you could sell those raw materials. So when I create an item, for example, I can back it with 1 Enjin. So that's my cost to create that item. And then later on, I can either destroy it myself, or if a player has that item themselves, they can choose to destroy it. And a certain percentage of that I have set is returned to me. So if I set that at 50% and another player destroys it, half of that Enjin they keep and half of it is returned to me. So that's basically what that is, melting.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's interesting. It's almost like creating elements, right? Creating your own little elements of currency that can be reconfigured.
I think the early videos from Enjin sort of showed that, where there was someone smelting and forging items
awesome, yeah.
Using Enjin, and then eventually you could melt them back down again.
Yeah, it's very tactile, and it makes a lot of sense. Samuel, back to this topic of trends. I'd love to hear your opinion on kind of what's fresh and new and people are buzzing about.
Yeah, I think the whole DeFi part of gaming is getting really, really, really big. For us, there's a lot of opportunity. We're looking at certain NFTs that provide percentage of fees and marketplaces and stuff like that. But you guys touched on it, which is really important, is that proof of work. Not letting players just sit back and collect, but force them to play the game, spend those hours, and for them to be rewarded, they need to do that proof of work. So for us, we're mixing in some of those DeFi components into our game, but there's going to be a lot of proof of work that they need to do also, so they can't just jump in, collect, and get out. So.
I think Josh might take us on to the next topic, and then we're going to wrap it up pretty soon here. But Josh, what would you like to know about? We had a couple things on the agenda around kind of earning and different things you can earn around. What do you choose?
Yeah. So, I just want to sort of take a step into the direction of this game economic model and the boom in the space. We've talked about Axie Infinity. We've talked about the general trend. Where is all this going in your minds? How is the play to earn economy going to evolve over time? What are the things you like about it? The things that hopefully will sort of wash out over time. Nick, what are your thoughts?
I think it's going to grow a lot over the next few years. I think more and more people that are spending in traditional games are going to be moving over, especially when they learn that they can earn at the same time. No game developer here is going to put out an economy where you can purely earn. They will have it built in so that you can spend as well. And the earning side will attract more people to this side of gaming, to NFT gaming, and I think the whole thing is going to blow up massively. People talk about Axie, but I think that's just a first stepping stone.
So what's next? Can I like conquer a level and then immediately I get a T-shirt sent to my house? Like what's going to happen next?
That tech is already available. Yeah, it's not far. That sort of thing can happen and will happen. So yeah, I think it will reach that point. you'll be surprised. You'll start getting key rings delivered to your house for having achieved certain levels. Who knows? There's literally no limitation here. That's the beauty of blockchain and NFTs.
If you're one of the first 10 players to finish the game, a player from the game comes to your house and escorts you on a private jet to a fantasy island where all the gamers hang out drinking margaritas or non-alcoholic margaritas if they're under 18. Is that in the future too?
I think literally there's no limitation. It's down to developer ideas. Just literally whatever you can dream up, you can create at this point.
You guys can totally take that idea.
Yeah, Josh, I think you need to change your direction here. It sounds like you're going to be a really incredible game designer.
Sam, any other thoughts on where this could go next that we haven't touched on yet?
I just feel like, the metaverse is and the cross chain is where, we on Enjin, we're building with the ERC 1155, but then you have this NFT art that's just booming, and not a lot of opportunity has been kind of taking a look over there. You look at the apes are just blowing up, and I think the game creators can take advantage of that and cross chain and put those NFTs inside our games. And I feel like that's something that hasn't really been focused on. Everyone's building sort of in a cubicle, but there's so much opportunity to reach out to cross chains and to other ecosystems and pull those NFTs in.
Yeah, totally. I guess there's situations where fractional ownership of games is possible, where that game may live in Decentraland or some kind of metaverse, and the players actually own the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Any last words, Cliff, before we wrap up?
I think Sam pretty much covered some of the stuff I was going to say about the multiverse stuff. Everyone's kind of building their own worlds at the moment. Eventually, we'll have some people who are going to collaborate a little bit better once they're all finished doing a bit more building, and then we'll have some sharing of assets and that kind of thing. And then obviously the other thing might be the content creation, users creating their characters and other things like that they can then digitize into the games as NFTs. Almost like the Second Life stuff where people were creating products and other virtual things that can actually be put onto the blockchain. Some of the projects are starting to do that now anyway.
It's super exciting. We had a rare opportunity to be part of the Animoca brand's Rev Racing game where they put an Edge of NFT race car into their game, and there are 10,000 of our branded race cars. So guys, we have no IP restrictions. If you guys want to use Edge of NFT in your games, we're happy to offer up our IP. That was pretty fun, racing an Edge of NFT race car in a game. And I think that's a super cool trend. With that, I think.
And by the way, it has real value. I'm getting offers on OpenSea for my Rev Racing car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
I have a friend that totally was paper-handed our race cars and sold them for a good profit. But more power to them. Anyways, this was really fun, guys. Exciting what you all are doing in the ecosystem. Enjin and I think some of you have graciously donated some NFTs to our audience today. There'll be a QR code that will come on as we're talking here, and you can scan that. And you guys talk a little bit about what's up for grabs here?
Yeah, for us, we got a whole bunch of telemetry that we dropped. We got some ship blueprints that people can pick up. So, definitely take advantage of that and play Enjin games.
Awesome, Nick.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, we put into some characters. One of these dynamic characters that I mentioned. Even there's a key that unlocks a special dungeon that you can't get access to otherwise. A few little goodies like that in there.
There you go.
Can't wait to get in that dungeon. I don't know if I never thought I'd say that out loud, but okay.
Well, actually,
in front of polite company.
This dungeon actually drops Enjin multiverse assets, so it's well worth trying to get into.
Cool. Awesome. And where do folks go to find out more about each of you and the games that you're developing? Sam?
You can go to the Enjin website. We're all hosted there. It shows our games, kind of what we're building, and the entire Enjin ecosystem.
Nice.
Yeah.
For mine, you can go to lostrelics.io, or if you just Google search for Lost Relics, you'll find it as well.
Yeah, likewise, as Sam said, go onto the Enjin website or just Google for Kingdom Carnage. You'll find us.
Very cool, guys. Well, thanks for a really informative session. Gaming is, I mean, as we talk about on our podcast covers, everything in NFTs, but gaming is just exploding. We're hearing about it more and more every day, and it's fascinating to watch. It's clearly a big part of the future of tech and entertainment and, the economy. It's really incredible, and I'm glad you guys get to be a part of it. And we appreciate your insights. But that'll wrap it up for today's session. We've really had an enjoyable time. For folks listening here, make sure and go check out where people directed you, and you can check out me and Josh and our co-host Jeff on Edge of NFT. Just go to edgeofnft.com to dive further down the rabbit hole there. But without further ado, we can wrap it up. Any last words or thoughts, Josh, or anybody else?
No, I just say we also love to do giveaways and drops, and we launch them in our newsletter. I think we've given away over $30,000 of NFTs in the last 8 weeks, and our social media manager Gail feels like Miss Claus sometimes, but she's having fun with all the drops and giveaways. So check those out, guys. Thanks so much for your time today. I'm excited about the future of Enjin and each of your games. Appreciate your time.
We'll be dropping our own NFT soon, and people will be giving away probably a couple of those as well, just to throw that in there.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Josh and Eathan.
Thank you, guys.